though. Charlevoix is hella north. That's like practically Mackinac region.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
They said it was like 2.5, 3 hours. So in my head, I was just like, oh, not that far.
How do you spell that?
Maybe it's 3.5. Oh, man.
It's Charles without the S. Take out the S and add the Voix.
Oh.
Okay. Yes.
Charlevoix.
Charlevoix.
The only way to replace an S, baby. Charles. Voix.
You said you were going up north on vacation, which was one of the more Michigan things you could say for sure.
Oh yeah. That we were just talking about with my family over the other day. We were talking about how like everybody who says pop still and who says soda and all that stuff.
Oh, of course.
So it's only pop when you're drinking Faygo. That's the only,
Yeah.
That is the most Michigan sentence you've ever said.
I've been really craving some Vernors lately. There's like this.
These are levels of Midwest that I can only dream of.
My mom has, like, obviously because Michigan's got the mitten thing, there's all sorts of things that's like a Michigan map with a mitten with all sorts of cute, caricatures and whatever, like kind of with each city and what they're known for, So, like, there's this one bottle of Vernors on this Michigan mitten thing. I'm like, man, I'm craving some of that barrel-aged ginger ale, baby.
Barrel-aged, baby.
So good. That little gnome or that wizard or whatever that's on the can just brewing up a little magic potion, baby.
Who says America doesn't have culture?
Yeah. Does not taste like any other ginger product.
It's so
whatsoever.
good. It's so good. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Pursuing Pixels. My name's Kevin Portelli, and I'm here tonight with John Hines.
Hey there.
And Randall Nolery.
Hey, folks.
And we are back, as always, to talk about some video games. And for the most part this week, I feel like we got a pretty Nintendo-heavy episode. Or I shouldn't say I feel like. We're pretty much strictly Nintendo.
Yeah.
Randall and I have been digging into some Pikmin 4. We're going to save that for the back half of the episode. John and Randall are still chipping away at Zelda, so we're going to kind of mostly lean into those two things. But we've also all been doing some multiplayer gaming, also some on Nintendo as well. I don't know if you were playing this solo, Randall, or with Tina, or multiplayer. I got together with my pals to do some of that new Mario Kart 8 DLC. There's all those new tracks. There's only one more batch left in like the expansion pass or whatever. Because every batch they seem to put out two circuits or whatever at a time. Yeah, two sets of 4 courses, so 8 at a time. This time also they put in 3 new racers. We were just talking about before we started. They added Kamek, PD, Piranha, and who was the third
another
one
character
again? Oh, Wiggler. Because we were like, we gotta go Wiggler on Wiggler. We kept saying like, we gotta all go Wiggler on Wiggler, which we didn't do. I did try Wiggler for a couple races,
Wiggler,
and I was like, who apparently has the same stats as Waluigi. We were like looking up the meta before we all started.
Oh my God.
But it was pretty painful actually, because like I've mentioned many times on the podcast, we've the friends that I've been hanging out with back home in Michigan, when we hang out, we've been doing these like 32 race marathons, and then every time there's been a new DLC, we've kind of waited, and I haven't been there for all of them, but for the last, I think, 2, and this is the 3rd one, we were like, okay, we'll wait for everyone to be available. And this one, it was like week after week, it was like we kept pushing it off, like, okay, nobody's free. And then we finally got together last week and played through. So we played through each of those courses twice during our 32 circuit. And then after that, we just started picking whatever we wanted from there. And I was doing pretty good. We actually ended up getting disconnected, which seems to happen to us all the time. We get disconnected on the... we were just playing like we were all in the same room playing wirelessly, like not even online, just like the wireless connection on.
Is it local play though? Do they actually have local play? I'm talking out of turn now. I don't know, but
it does have like, there's an online mode, and then you can do this weird like button combo where you like push in one of the joysticks and do something and then put it in LAN mode.
Whoa.
But then you can also go to like a regular, it's just called wireless mode. And yeah, you can just connect with people in the same room.
Oh.
But it's real finicky. You can't connect a Pro Controller and 2 Joy-Cons. It has to be a Pro Controller and another Pro Controller. Like it's real weird the way it works. But yeah, we played through about half of the circuit, but we did play all the tracks twice. And I personally was I feel like every batch that I've been home for the last 3, we've all said like, this is the best batch yet. This is the best batch yet. And yet again, I was coming from that same background. But what about you, Randall? Did you play some multiplayer here with the fam? Or
yeah, Tina and I would always play through the latest sets.
Yes.
I think we ended up playing through The first of the two latest sets twice. The one that the grand finale being the bathroom level, which I think is my favorite one.
It's a really cool track, and it's the only like new track. Like, you know, there's some like remakes that are new, you know, that we've never seen before as far as like they're from old games, new twists on them. But this is like a new, fresh course.
Yeah. At first pass, I was like, oh no, these are good. But I actually thought the last round was even better. But like, these are still just as good as anything they put with a regular Mario Kart game. So I'm very happy with them. And yeah, that bathroom level I think is a banger. I think it's really good.
Yeah, that level is a ton of fun. And I would say like I think the last batch they had that Christmas level in it that was like kind of like the new exclusive. And I would say this one blows that one out of the water. No pun intended, with there being like sinks like blasting you up to different levels. Like it's really fun. It's like for the first few races, I was like, I came in first actually on the first race we did, and I was like, oh, Wiggler's maybe my character, and like I'm holding my own because like these guys don't know these tracks and have them memorized like they do the older ones that they played a million times. So
all the
I think I've mentioned like my buddy VO, who's got like they seem to play at his house the most, or at least these days they do, and he's got 500 hours plus logged on Mario Kart. So he's giving John a run for his money with Tears for the Kingdom. So
although it's split between two profiles now, so it's going to be impossible to tell.
Yes, and I guess did you have any more thoughts on the Mario Kart stuff, Randall? Or?
No, PD Piranha and Wiggler in particular are both great, goofy-looking characters, and I'm glad they're there.
Yeah, it's definitely fun, like just how they just embrace the nonsense and like the silliness with that stuff, and it's pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
And then I guess just briefly too, John and I had a multiplayer session online the other day. We were playing some Overwatch 2.
Nice.
And John thankfully suggested what are these modes called? They're like the
arcade
like seasonal
modes. Yeah, but they have an arcade mode, but then the seasonal modes are a thing within the arcade mode. As far as I know, I could also be talking out of turn.
And they've always had those seasonal modes going back to the first Overwatch too, with those sort of ones, and it's kind of cool because then here's the seasonal thing. It's I can't even remember some of the past ones, but like that kind of entices people to go play this one mode to get enough of a player base to go do that too. So that was always fun, And
honestly, I think that's exactly what they did, because we were playing Lúcioball, which was the Rocket League, like shameless ripoff, and it rules so hard.
It's very good.
So good.
They made a big deal about it being like Lúcioball returns, because we played a different mode first. It was kind of like a volleyball. Like
they tried to make a new one, Winston's Volleyball. Yeah. They're like, well, we had a hit with Lúcioball. We'll try this other thing, and it sucked.
Yeah, we already got the ball physics. Let's do it. It was terrible. And then we played Lúcioball after that, because we normally play with 4 people, or we've done even all 5 of us when you joined us the one time, Randall.
Yeah.
But we play with all of like our bandmates from Chicago, and then our one buddy Glenn, who's over in Seattle, and he wasn't able to join us this time, so we were like, let's check it out. And unfortunately, I am kind of bummed that this is only like a 3-versus-3 mode. I was just talking to Glenn about it. I was like, well, at least we know we got to play Lúcioball whenever any of us can't make it. So it was seriously so much fun, because Lucio has like the ability to like, you have this like basically like pulse cannon, which part of me was like, I kind of wish you had like something like that with like Rocket League. You could like honk your horn and like blast the ball with like a little pulse or something, because it just gives you like a little more control.
Yeah.
About when you're hitting it, and like the dexterity of a first-person shooter, like
it feels
good. Really good.
If you like aim and shoot like a little bit early, like we had Mikey ended up playing goalie because he's like, well, I'm playing on PC, so I got the mouse. I think I can move the cursor around a little better for playing goalkeeper, and he's just better at first-person shooters than all of us, and just at Overwatch in general. So, but I was honestly surprised that Mikey liked it so much, because Mikey, I don't think really even likes Rocket League at all. Yeah. And he just tends to be more of somebody who wants to play like the traditional, like, let's play the way we're supposed to play the game, or whatever. I could be speaking out of turn there too, but like in my experience playing with Mikey, so I was kind of thinking like, we'll play one round of this, because John was kind of like, let's play the arcade, and it seemed like we had to kind of convince him a little bit. And then once we played it, I don't think we played anything else. We were just like Lúcioball all night. It was awesome. Every character or every player plays as Lucio, and it's just awesome. Those jump pads are really cool.
Oh,
you can, like, launch into the air and then press another button to like
slam down onto the
do
ground.
Like a ground pound almost. Yeah.
So you use it to launch yourself forward, but like then like slam yourself on the ground when you've like positioned yourself well enough. It's incredible. Like it's like, and a thing that I was thinking about as we were playing it is that like yes, it is very much like in the same spirit as Rocket League, but like Rocket League is just soccer with cars. Like,
right.
At the same time, I was just like, God, like soccer is a really good framework for like I wish that there has been like a like soccer like renaissance of like people doing their different version of it or your different controlled like soccer. Like I think it's such a rich thing that you could use.
It translates so well to video games.
It really does.
You know,
it really does. Yeah. Even stuff like, air hockey is almost like a version of soccer. I guess it's a version of hockey.
Yeah.
Well, and like they had the hockey version of
soccer almost.
Of Rocket League, even
where
like it was
with
just
the puck and the different physics and stuff. Yeah.
And that's enough to like shift things up. Like I think that it's
that was a fun mode too. Where I'm actually kind of that way. I said Mikey's that way. I'm kind of that way where I like to tend to play like even when we play Overwatch and we play like the regular ish modes where it's kind of like the more tug of war. Like I'm like I just want to play deathmatch and like get who gets the most kills. But then again, Mikey would win every time. So it's at least like, okay, let's see if you could carry the dead weight of the rest of our band to victory here, Mikey, because he literally gets the play of the game at the end of almost every match, even when we lose. So he's
an
so
incredible Bastion player.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, going with that Bastion.
Yeah,
yep. But yeah, that's been a ton of fun doing the multiplayer stuff lately. But yeah, why don't we lean into the meat and potatoes with the rest of the Nintendo stuff? I know you guys have been playing some Zelda. I don't know which one of you wants to take the lead here, but just some follow up on some Tears of the Kingdom. I guess minor spoiler alerts, maybe major spoiler alerts. But
yeah, that's probably fair.
I think we'll kind of dance around them for the most part, or we'll give a warning if we're gonna, if it's gonna be anything major. I guess.
Yeah, that's fair.
So you take point on this one, Randall.
Yeah, so I'll say thank you, John, because you encouraged me. I've said this in the past about games. It still holds true now. John is my game FAQs, basically, and he tells me things because I don't have time for the internet. I just can't.
That's good.
That's so fair. And probably a good and healthy thing.
But he's like, you should go to the Wind Temple first. You should do that first and go get this. What they've got going over there. So I'm like, okay, fine. I've like dicked enough around this world map. I've hit all the different sky towers or whatever. I've got the main map uncovered. I don't have the below map uncovered that much still yet, but main map, and I've dicked around and upped my different armor, and I've done all kinds of goofing around and not actually doing the main story. But I'm like, okay, let's do one of these main things for once, please. So Wind Temple, and got Tulin and the ability to glide more effectively across the map.
And to have an NPC party.
Yeah, I didn't expect that part of it. Like, shoot, he's a marksman too. That rules. Like, that's awesome.
Interesting.
It's wild. This game does so many things.
Yeah,
so keep going.
And he's hitting headshots most of the time too. Yeah. I've noticed. Bing, like
just like a companion on the side that's just like doing damage passively, essentially. Okay,
he's a bow and arrow constantly. And
okay.
So it's just a thing that like Tears of the Kingdom leans heavily into is like enemy mobs. Like you will very frequently run into just groups of 10 enemies and you just have to like fight them. Yep. And a thing that you unlock as you do more of those temples is just more NPCs that will fight alongside you.
Oh, that's cool.
And
that's really cool, yeah.
If you notice that Tulin is a like bow, like it's every weapon, and they all do that. So like you will always have like someone with a spear or someone with a like blunt hammer or swords.
And this is all like you can have multiple simultaneously, or are you picking one that you want with you at a time? Okay.
And the Switch doesn't chug with all that going on?
I never said I could handle it. Don't put words in my mouth. No, it chugs a ton. Like especially like when you get end game, you get into a like huge mob of enemies and you have 5 distinct NPC like characters controlling a separate AI targeting AI. Like God. it gets hot and dicey.
I can imagine, let alone the physics and everything else that's happening, and like it remembering that you dropped this thing over here before, and It's wild. The only downside I'll say
remember
about
where all the Koroks are at. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah,
all the different
it's
things
nuts.
that you can move around. Yeah.
The only downside I'll say about the Tulin is it's on the A button.
Yes,
which, I'm always mashing to what we call banana, which is like picking up things very quickly.
Yep. But the fun thing about Tulin's power is that he summons a wind gust, which blows away all of the items that you're trying to pick up.
Yes. Although I was like, it kind of worked out because just recently, just yesterday, I came across the in kind of the middle of the map, there's that huge hollowed out tree stump thing that's got a little underground thing. And then right next to it is an orchard that's got a ton of like golden apples and stuff. And like, oh, shoot. I was trying to banana and like accidentally hit the gust and it blew a bunch of the stuff off the tree. That's pretty convenient. Mm-hmm. So it's just like the systems in this game are crazy. It's crazy.
Those happy accidents in games like that are a ton of fun for sure. Like in these kind of like where you just kind of like lean into the, oh shit, I didn't expect that to happen. Okay, let's go get that. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's especially wild because like so much of the game is a physics like sandbox.
Yeah.
Where like you'll get to a thing is like, what is the friction like on this item? Like, if I let this item fall down, will it stop or will it continue moving? And like, how much weight can I put on it with that level of friction?
Yeah.
So like, you are really getting into like, how do these items interact? Like this is not necessary for the gameplay at all. But I'm like, if I put like this like a giant thing on this little piece of ice or a frozen fish, and like it'll just skip along forever, like across the entire map. And I was like,
friction.
Yeah,
it's so fun. Like every little bit of it is just like you can poke and prod at things, and it'll just do things that like if you can imagine it. Like that's I think the biggest strength of this game is that like there are so many times where I'm like, I know that there's like an easy way to do this, but what's like an incredibly dumb way I can do this? And it always works.
Do it. Yeah.
Like, the dumb way always works.
Yeah. Or that with just a little bit of tweaking, like you'll find a solution that way, which is amazing. I love that it's not just rote. It's not just follow A to B to C and that's how you win. Like you better have done it exactly right. No, like that. It's wild.
I know that. I was just going to say, I know that like Tears of the Kingdom didn't speak to me exactly, but I will. Breath of the Wild, it was nice getting away from like doing the dungeons as much as I like the old Zelda games and Ocarina of Time and all that. But yeah, it's like you have to do things in the right order and you're just going through the motions. Everybody's playthrough, unless you're doing some crazy speedrun glitch thing, is going to look virtually the same, just how good you are at it, is going to be the only difference. But, it is nice to like have that freedom. So yeah, the fact that you guys are leaning in and enjoying these systems, it's like, I can only imagine how much fun that is.
And so I've only been playing my second file now, which has like completely replaced. My first file is dead to me. I don't even care. But like the second file where
you're never gonna finish it.
I don't know if I might, but like honestly, like I can't see myself moving back to it.
I get it.
The restrictions I put on that is like I'm doing the photojournalist where I need to photograph anything before I can interact with it, which is always great because like every time I encounter a new enemy, it's just the shittiest photo of it like in mid attack.
Oh yeah, because
I'm like, good enough. All right, it's in the thing.
In the
I'll
frame.
take a better picture later. Like,
that's amazing.
Like, it's incredible, but like. A thing I've been trying to do our Hitman 2 thing where I've already played this game kind of once. So I'm like, okay, can I do this in a different way? And I'm trying to do every shrine differently, every like overworld thing differently. Like occasionally
and this game lets you do that more than Breath of the Wild does, I think, especially in the shrines. Like I really think there's way more freedom, which I bounced off of, but you can do every shrine in like a ton of different ways. So that's cool.
Can.
And like that, it's been fun with like some of the ones where like I did the shrine in my first playthrough like the quote unquote correct way.
Yeah.
And then like now I'm like, oh God, do I really have to do this in a stupid way? But then in on the other hand, there are some that like I did really early in the playthrough when I didn't have a good grasp on what the systems were. And like now I'm playing, I'm like, oh my God, that's how you were supposed to do it. Good God. How did I do it the first time? Like, so it's
that
super
makes sense.
fun.
Yeah. And I'm sure they're even like easier to do one way or the other with, you just inherently knowing the systems so much more this time around, right?
Even like the first island, Sky Island, like I was trying to go in so many different ways right off the bat. And I was like, yeah, it lets you. Like, it's not immediately obvious. Like,
yes,
you're looking at a thing as like, okay, there's exactly one small path that like I can climb up that's not ice and that conveniently just leads me to the shrine. It's like there's so many like explicit paths put in every direction, and it's so great.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of funny to think about like that there's probably still people around that think like, hey, video games, they're just rotting your brain. You're not like, you're really, if you're playing games like this and puzzle solving, like you're keeping your brain sharp as far as I'm concerned. Like, I think that kind of stuff is awesome.
Absolutely.
So, yes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of doing a little puzzle solving, and like we talked about at the top, we're going to talk about a little Pikmin 4. And I guess like John was saying, we haven't really talked much Pikmin. I'm sure it's come up in passing on the podcast in the past, but I feel like we haven't really talked Pikmin. Randall and I have been playing some Pikmin 4 as of late. I have been playing. I did like one short session, and I was originally, like I was saying at the top, I was like, maybe I'll go in with some first impressions. But earlier today, I ended up doing like a 2.5 hour stream, and then ended up like being like, I'm kind of itching to play some more. Like, I don't want to do a stream because if I close up all the windows and doors in my room here, it's going to get too hot for recording the podcast tonight. But I was like, I'm going to play some more, and I ended up playing a few more sessions even later in the day. So I played through the first 8 days of like my adventure, maybe 9 days actually. Nice. Because I think I played one more kind of long day doing some cave exploring. But I'm coming from a background where I'm a big fan of the Pikmin series in general. I really like Pikmin 1.
Yeah.
Pikmin 2 is probably my favorite of the series up to this point. Pikmin 3 I liked a lot as well. I did get a little bit overwhelmed with all the juggling between all 3 of the characters. And part of me was a little bit worried that like, Pikmin 4, are they going to have 4 characters you have to juggle between this time? Which thankfully has not been the case so far. There's your main character that you kind of create, but then you have your like dog character, Ochi, yeah. And you get to swap between those 2, but you're just juggling between those 2. For me, that's been like the perfect balance so far. So I'm not going to tip my hand 100%, although I've already done that in the Discord if you've been in there. Randall, where are you coming from? And John too, where are you guys coming from with the Pikmin series?
Yeah, so I bought all the Pikmin when they came out, but I didn't end up playing Pikmin 3 for whatever reason.
Never? Like you've never played it?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
I don't know why I bought it and I didn't play it.
It was a Wii U game, it was hard to dig that out. And
I think it happened especially on the Wii U. Like I think I own several games for that I barely or if ever played.
Yeah. I don't know. It's like takes a long time to load the Wii U up. That's probably a factor. Like, the pick up and play is not quite the same there.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's not like your Xbox where you just have it running in 10 games, 5 games running simultaneously. No. Like, let me hop into this.
Different world, complete different world.
Totally,
But no, I bought like Pikmin. I think pretty much on launch on GameCube, and Pikmin 2. I didn't play as much Pikmin 2, but I always had a real fondness for the series, and I'm glad they're still making Pikmin. So I'm like, they got this Best Buy thing, the buy 2 get 1 free, and they're all pre-order stuff. Yeah, sure, I'll get Pikmin 4 at launch. Why not? Like, now's the time, and I'll start playing that. And I've enjoyed it so far. I can't say, like, I'm not such a aficionado that I can super tell what's like super duper new to this versus some of the other entries. But the Ochi stuff is cool because he's like a supercharged Pikmin, or kind of like I'd almost equate him to like he's like the Warcraft 3 kind of like hero character almost, in that he can do a bit more, and compared to like a Pikmin as like a regular run-of-the-mill, meatbag soldier. So
like I've currently got Ochi leveled up. I keep calling him Oachi every time when I was streaming. So it's Ochi. I'm guessing you're pronouncing it better than me. So
I think I heard it in one of the directs. I think. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. But like I have leveled them up to where like they have the strength of like 10 Pikmin. So like if I'm like, I need 20 Pikmin to carry this thing. I can do 10 and then just throw Ochi over there.
Yeah.
And then I'm just actually learning now that you can like, I love this game. This is
RPG
the best game in the
mechanics in a Pikmin game? What?
This is the best game in the Pikmin series.
Yeah.
And I'm coming from like, you know, obviously I've talked about a ton of the recent Nintendo releases, not just Tears of the Kingdom, but like Mario Golf, Super Rush, a lot of even Mario Odyssey, like a lot of the games that I've been pretty excited about and just series that I've loved. And Pikmin I would say I love, but not like I'm not like some diehard fan. I just have really enjoyed the games and just like that there's something different and whatever. And this game is just everything I wanted. Like they pared it back. It's not so like it's just enough juggling again between the two characters and the map system. This game has some of the best features I've ever seen in games. Like you like when you pause on the map screen, the radar map, I think they call it. Mm-hmm. Like when let's say you're like, okay, I want to go over here. You're pinpointing a spot on the map. You can press a button that then has you look in that direction. So when you unpause the game, you're then facing right in the direction.
I didn't do that. That would be very helpful.
When you press that button, it actually like immediately unpauses and just turns you in that direction. So you're like, okay, I want to face this thing. You also eventually can like, I think you have to unlock it or buy it, but you get like a drone.
Yeah.
You can like fly around at any given time. Once you unlock it level. And and it pauses the game and then you can drop pins while you're flying the drone around. And then you can also drop those pins while you're just looking at the regular map. You can, like, same thing, erase them while you're just looking at the regular map. You can also, I just learned this recently, you can like pick a spot on the map and then just click A and it'll say go here. And you can just put your characters on like autopilot. So you can be like, okay, I'm going to send Ochi back to the base to go gather the Pikmin while I'm going and doing this. And then you can customize all the D-pad hotkeys. So I have it like where pressing left is the drone, pressing up is to switch between Ochi and to switch between my Pikmin player character, and then pressing down is to open up the map. I forget what it is. Like spicy spray is on one thing. I think I took that off and switched it to something else. But like so much customization. So much I've unlocked. You can level up Ochi and like different. You unlock these like pup points every time you rescue like a civilian or a crew member.
Yep.
And then you get these pup chip points or whatever they're called. And then you can level them up to like either be able to swim better or to be able to do their like rush dash attack faster or do more damage. Like eventually you can level that up to like kill. It says kills most enemies in one attack. Yeah. So you're like, oh shit. So I can like kind of attack with the Pikmin. You can hop on Ochi.
Yeah,
and
riding Ochi's fucking awesome too.
Which then allows you to jump. So like if there's those little like lips before where you couldn't get up to that next level, Ochi lets you jump up there.
It with the Pikmin too, riding on his back.
Yeah, with the Pikmin just like hopping on back. So and they can also ride on your back while you're swimming and you can cover across a gap. Now there's these new ice Pikmin, which if there's a body of water, if you throw enough of them into the water, it freezes the body of water and then everybody else can run across the water.
Yeah.
It's all the Pikmin come out of just one onion now, and they just like you just have this one main onion that has 3 like colors to it now, and maybe they'll add more as you find more. Yeah. And you keep finding these like garlic, I think they're called flarlic things that then like, oh, now you can have 10 more Pikmin.
Yep.
And they brought the caves back.
Yeah, the caves are great.
Are like
and they
multi-tiered, like really
time.
puzzly. Yeah, the time totally freezes, and they're really puzzly and kind of like almost like Zelda dungeony. Like you got a old school Zelda dungeony, like go through, kind of solve these puzzles. You got to kind of like, okay, Ochi can't go through this gate. I can throw the yellow Pikmin higher. I can freeze this. Like
they're almost a little gauntlet-y, the caves. I would say,
some of them. The last one I did was 4 floors in one. So like I was like, oh, I'm gonna play a few more days before and I ended up just playing one, and I think it took me about 45 minutes. But I just like, Pikmin 1 had that 30-day overarching timer, which is brutal, which is cool. Like, but it kind of leans into that like survival aspect.
Severe, yeah.
And then 2 kind of loosened that, but still kind of was doing the same thing, and I really enjoyed that. And then 3 kind of just got a little too complex, and then this one just kind of reins it all in perfectly. I love how you can just like command. Yeah, that's what my other hotkey is, command. So I can command Ochi. When I level them up to the next tier or whatever, they'll be able to just go gather all the loose Pikmin that are like not doing anything. So I can just be like, okay, go gather everybody.
Oh man, I need to do that one.
Yeah, one of the new items I just unlocked, I haven't bought it yet, but it's like it's not a whistle, but it's like a siren or something that, where it like just like calls all the Pikmin to you, like no matter where they are, any idle Pikmin will come to you. It's just every quality of life thing you can imagine. And it's beautiful. I haven't even mentioned how it's one of the best. Honestly, for me, it might be the best looking game Nintendo's ever released. I think it's just stunning how good this game looks, and the music too. It's like definitely pulling from that Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom, like little tinkly pianos. There's a little more melody to it going on, but like it's still got the same classic Pikmin stuff when you're like wrapping up the day. It's got some of those same tunes. Like I am so relieved, like being like, I've just been like every Nintendo game, I've just been such a negative, every game that's come out recently. And I am just like over the moon with this game. I can't wait to play more. I'm on like the third zone, I think now but I haven't been there yet. So I've only explored 2 of like the areas and definitely not 100% at any of them, because it seems like you definitely have to like unlock some things later in the game and go back. But I don't know. Are you enjoying it on the same level, Randall, or where are you coming from on the?
Yeah, no, I am, and like Fiona's been able to watch that too, because it's like it's borderline a little bit violent. You got some of those big dudes that are just chomping down some Pikmin, like, but it's or lighting them on fire. But
it's a little scary. It can be a little scary,
but it's she's pretty mature for it, so it's like she's been watching that. There's actually there is like a 2-player mode that seems not too dissimilar from like the Galaxy style, like simplified control. They can like throw some things or like help a little bit, without it being too intense. So we haven't tried that yet. I just let her watch this last time and she was into that. But yeah, no, I've been enjoying it. Still been kind of flipping between Tears of the Kingdom and this, and that's been kind of a push and pull on its own, because like I just really don't want to drop Tears of the Kingdom. I'm really like into it, so it's tough when, again, both are cartridge games, so there's that too,
Yep. It's a small layer, but it does make a do I really? It's the same thing with Mario Kart. It's like, oh man, I gotta go dig that out again. I wish I had that digitally,
Yep. It's good though. Like I agree with everything you said, Kevin. It's really good, and it almost gives me like it's almost like, even though it's obviously more active and there's fighting and stuff like that, it's almost giving me a little bit of those Animal Crossing vibes, and kind of like the laid back of it all, and like the themes and like the music and it's the stakes are never super duper high, even though there's a lot to do and things like that. So it's good. It's really good.
Yeah, I'm really, really having a blast. Especially, I didn't realize initially the only thing you can't do with Ochi is like pluck the Pikmin out of the ground. But you can even, like, if you're like playing as Ochi, even without your character, you can still like throw Pikmin around. And I keep just referring to it as like your character, because like you like kind of make your own custom character in this one, which is kind of interesting. I don't know. I kind of went with like mostly the basic look and then just kind of tweaked it a little bit.
Same.
Till I found something I liked. But yeah, it was kind of interesting. They even like retconned some of the original story from Pikmin 1, because the tutorial, you like play as Olimar and you're like riding around on Ochi and whatever, and then you like get lost and stranded and send out an SOS, and like you're going out to rescue Olimar. And I think Olimar makes it back home in the first game, like with all like gets all the stuff and comes back home. But maybe it's just out on another adventure or something, and I maybe just missed that while I was setting up. But I don't know. I just really have been beyond impressed with this game. It's the most excited I've been about like playing a new AAA game in a long time. So
I was going to say that when I saw that like you were like taking to this game, Kevin, that like you were like, no, this is a good one. I was like, man, that means I probably have to play Pikmin 4 at some point. But I never really played Pikmin 3 as much as I wanted to. And then I'm like, but I also haven't played Pikmin 2 in a really long time.
Same. And they just re-released those. I know they're just like pretty much ports of the like Wii or GameCube versions, but
you know what I have is the GameCube version of Pikmin 2.
Hell yeah.
And so one of the reasons why I was late today was I was trying to finish like the first cavern of Pikmin 2.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, man.
And I was like, God damn, I love this game. Like, Pikmin 2 is such a good game. And like, I was really like, when you mentioned that the caverns were back and that, you know, it kind of had that 2-player as opposed to like, because like Pikmin 3, I did think added a little bit too much complexity. Like it was the like linear progression of like 2 was like a little bit more complex than 1, and so like because it's the sequel to 2, like we got to make it a little bit more difficult or a little bit
typical
more
Nintendo fashion. Like we got to do something new. We got to add more to the game, you know.
So hearing that like 4 is also like kind of a return to 2 because 3 also reintroduced the day limits kind of in a weird like you had to collect enough juice to like make it to the next day.
Yeah.
So
right.
like
I forgot about that.
I really love that like 2 seemed to like fix all of my issues with 1, and like if 4 fixes all of my issues with 3, then like that's really good news.
That's actually a great way to put it, honestly, because having played all of them, I would say that's kind of how the progression works, and it's it's just such a delight. Like you're kind of you got a base camp that's almost like a little mini level in and of itself that you kind of stop at. I haven't done any of the nighttime stuff, but supposedly you can explore in the nighttime as well in this game. I saw that in one of the trailers. So,
I didn't either.
I haven't had the option to do that yet, at least to the best of my knowledge. So I don't know, but yeah, it's really fun to like rescue the crew members. That's what gives you more like pup points to level up Ochi.
Yeah. And then they've got their kind of own thing that they add to your experience typically when you rescue them too, which is nice.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if it's like, a crew member or something like that, as opposed to just like one of the civilians. But even some of the civilians have unlocked different areas in the like kind of hub world or whatever. But I'm so excited to play more. It feels like so familiar, but fresh at the same time.
Yeah. Well, in that regard, though, the only thing that throws me off is you can't, at least I haven't been able to successfully, like on the GameCube games, you have the nub where you could like send the Pikmin with the nub.
We were talking about this in the Discord.
Dude.
Yes. Like you can't steer them around. Like I used to love like running up to an enemy or an animal or whatever, and just like swarming them with the C stick, just like just swarm them. But in this one, they've kind of replaced that with like you can press X to not only rush or dash with Ochi or jump or whatever as well, but you can use that. I guess it makes the Pikmin kind of rush forward as well.
I didn't do that.
I saw that in one of like the tips. Like every time, I really love how like every time you boot up a level, it's like, this is how much you've cleared. This is how much you've collected. You're 24% through the level. It's so.
Same with the caves. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so good. I love this game. I absolutely love this game. I can't recommend it highly enough.
Hell yeah.
And you know what? All you need for camera controls is an R button that centers the camera behind you. That's all you need.
Yeah. That's one thing too that I will say too. I don't know, in all the Pikmin games, it's so impressive how like you're with the left joystick, you're controlling both your character and the cursor at the same time. And that's what's really cool. So when you put either of you can also not only send Ochi to do things on autopilot, but you can send your own character to do things on autopilot as well. Like click somewhere on the map, go here. You can send them both independently to do things. And then you can actually be like, while you're running, you can keep them and they'll keep running on their path, but then you can move the cursor with the joystick. You're only moving the cursor. Ooh. But I always think it's so impressive. And like this game does have like a way better lock-on system. I think the only thing that's a little bit annoying is like some things, like if something takes 10 Pikmin to carry, like if you're just button mashing and doing the banana on the A button, it kind of like stops at the 10 mark, sort of, or whatever the max thing is, and then it will let more Pikmin carry that thing, but it's sort of like
you have to aim it a little bit.
Yeah, like it stops like locking onto it in a weird way, but like at the same time they carry it fast enough. It doesn't seem like it's as huge of a difference in the old game. Like in the old games, you could double the Pikmin and it would make a massive difference. This, it's like they carry it a little faster, but 5's enough, and you can move your base camp around throughout the stages. I don't know if they did that in 3 at all, but like there'll be like little spots with like these 2 round circles, and okay, I'm gonna move my onion over here now on this stage, and it's just so good. I'm gonna play some more before bed. If I got a job interview in the morning, so maybe I shouldn't. But I'm like, maybe one more day, round out that first 10 days. But man, I'm loving this game. I'll probably be talking about it some more if I keep playing it.
You should,
because that's one thing too. Pikmin 3, I kind of ripped through that. I remember it feeling kind of short, and it feels like so far, this one's got a little more meat on the bones so far. So, because I've already played about 10 hours. So
nice.
Well, that's good news for me, because I'm going to be playing through 2, then 3, then 4.
I'll be curious to hear what your thoughts are on that progression.
Yeah, me too.
So I'm very interested to compare 3 to 4 now that you've talked about it.
Yeah.
Two's amazing too, because that was the first game I think I ever played in 480p. I got like my GameCube
progressive,
not the GameCube. I got my Wii that you could play GameCube games on, and then I was like, and I remember I was like, my eyes were watering. I like turned off all the lights. I was like, it's so bright. The colors are so bright,
dude. It is the blurriest thing I've ever seen. Like after playing Tears of the Kingdom and going to this, I'm like, I can't even read that number. Like I don't know how I could do this, like on a screen that was so much smaller, like when I was younger.
I will love to hear like you going from 2 on GameCube, not even like these new kind of up-resed versions or whatever, going from that to 4. Like it's a beautiful game. I truly mean that when I think it's one of the best looking Nintendo games ever. It's awesome.
It's pretty impressive.
Some of the textures in the GameCube, I was like, is there much of a difference between this and an N64 game?
Yeah, some of those like walls and ground patterns and stuff, textures, yeah.
It seemed like it was a lot like further along when it was the N64 to GameCube, but looking in retrospect, I'm like, there's not a lot of distance between those two.
They need to use all that power to move all those individual characters and polygons around.
There's a ton of individually moving pieces in the game.
Yeah.
So
and that's one thing worth mentioning too, the AI of the Pikmin. I mean, they still do some dumb stuff here and there, but they do seem a lot smarter than in the old games. Like they just kind of do, like, again, the lock-on systems. It just works a little more intuitively in the way you expect it to.
Yeah, some context sensitivity going on there, it feels like. Yeah.
It's awesome. But I don't know. Any more Pikmin thoughts before we wrap it up for the night?
None today.
Nice. Well, I'm sure we'll talk more Nintendo stuff and inevitably some more Xbox stuff as well. I've been booting up my Xbox a little bit more lately as well, so dipping into some Game Pass stuff. So I don't know. I guess we'll leave it there for this week with the video games chit chat and whatnot. And until next week, you can catch us on the internet at pursuingpixels.com. And until next week, we'll catch you then, and take care.
Bye.
Bye.
What are you guys drinking, by the way?
Goose Island. I'm a local boy apparently now.
Yes.
They're living easy German Kolsch, and then I got a grapefruit shandy.
Nice.
I'm doing the local too. I got the Bells, got the Change of Heart IPA, which is like a new experimental version of the Two Hearted, and then I got a regular Two Hearted for after I polish this one off.
What makes it experimental? Oops, sorry.
That's just the name it says on it. Experimental IPA. I don't know.
That can't be just a type. That's not a category.
That's just what it says here.
It's not descriptive enough.
IPA. Probably doesn't show up with that glistening can, but yeah.
I like the design though. Like,
yeah, they did a good, like, they have a few different ones. I think they got bought out by Anheuser-Busch, so now there's like all these different, like, or it was some big, I don't know if it was them for sure, but one of the huge conglomerates, and now they have like all these variations, like Oberon. You can get like a 12-pack with 4 different flavors of Oberon, and they just like all these new variations because they could just mass produce shit now, even more than they already were, So
it's been a long time since
kind of cool.
Oberon.
I never loved it, but it was good. It was good. You could pound them.
Yeah. A little orange slice in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
I think I honestly got a little bit bitter with them just because at work, like when there was Oberon season, like everybody would just go freaking nuts. It was like, man, come on, guys, like we'd out, like I don't know, it was just weird. But yeah, what are you drinking again, Randall?
The Cutwater mango margarita.
Okay, nice.
Backfilled with some other random liquor that under the bar, and then kombucha on top of that to just throw it all together.
I love
because it doesn't matter. It really
the concoctions.
I just love like your delivery system for your megabiome. It's just you're getting in there somehow.
Yes. Just like I need booze, or I'm going to get my booze however I can get it.
Yep. Booze and booch.
Yeah. It's a good mixture.
It's not bad.